and it's been one of the most turbulent weeks for transatlantic relations in decades. A flurry of statements from U.S. President Donald Trump, touching everything from Greenland to Gaza, has rattled global markets and unnerved America's closest allies. That uncertainty spilled into Davos, where world leaders and business executives gathered for the World Economic Forum, questioning Washington's reliability on the global stage. By the time Trump arrived, diplomatic tensions were already high, fueled by tariff threats and talk of U.S. control over Greenland. At the peak of these activities was the inauguration of a board of peace, which the U.S. president says could replace the United Nations. And of course, now we're joined by Collins Nweke, a global affair analyst, joining us all the way from Brussels in Belgium. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us. It's been quite a week from everything that has happened, to what's enduring, and even after Davos. Can you tell us, is it really right to say that President Trump's statement has led to a breakdown in trust between America and its allies?
Thank you, Queen. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Well, I think it would be an overstatement to say, trust has completely broken down. It is, however, fair to say that it has been deeply strained. Trust between allies, is built on predictability, consultation, and respect for shared rules. What we saw, in the Davos week, sharp rhetoric, transactional threats, and unilateral posturing undermined those pillars, pillars of trust, respect, and shared rules. Now, for allies in Europe and Asia, the concern is not just what is being said, but how decisions appear to be made. Outside established alliances, sometimes even without warning. It just drops. That creates, some levels of uncertainty. And, political leaders abhor that. However, alliances like NATO and, long-standing US-EU ties are resilient. They don't collapse overnight. What we are witnessing is not a rupture. I must underline that. Despite the beautiful speech made by Mark Carney of, Canada, but what I see happening is, confidence deficit. And confidence, once shaken, takes quite some time and consistent diplomacy to rebuild. I think that is, what, we will have post World Economic Forum 2026.
Right. So you mentioned, confidence deficit. Would you say that will be the outcome with this Greenland push, in terms of America's strategy and his priorities in the Arctic and the global power competition?
I like to see Greenland as a means to a goal, not the goal itself. So Greenland is not really about Greenland. It is about the Arctic as the next geopolitical frontier. The Arctic holds critical shipping routes, rare earth minerals, and strategic military positioning. As ice melts, access expands, and competition inevitably intensifies. The US sees growing activities there from China and Russia, and Trump's blunt approach reflects a belief that strategic advantage must be secured early and indeed decisively. What is revealing is not the interest. Every major power has Arctic ambitions, there is no doubt about that, but the method. Turning strategic concerns into public acquisition rhetoric alarms allies like, Denmark, and risk politicizing what should be managed through diplomacy and multilateral frameworks. But that wasn't, Trump's, preferred approach.
Right. So let's talk about the Board of Peace. What exactly is the proposed Board of Peace, and how do you think realistically is it to? Do you think it's going to claim or replace, the United Nations?
The proposed Board of Peace, Queen, appears to be an idea for a small, a tiny, powerful group of states making rapid decisions on global security, especially bypassing the slow consensus-driven, United Nations system. Now, I was having a conversation recently with a friend, yesterday as a matter of fact, and, I did mention that, the Board of Peace is an outcome of impatience. While frustration with the UN is understandable, replacing it is neither realistic nor desirable. The UN derives legitimacy from universality. Every state, big or small, supposedly has a voice. A select board may act faster, there is no doubt about that, but it would lack legitimacy, especially for the global south. So reform, not replacement, is the credible path. Security Council reform, stronger peace enforcement mechanisms, and more equitable representation. This way, the global south would shift from supposedly having a voice to genuinely having one.
Well, Mr. Nweke, thank you so much for joining us and giving us, insight as to the situation. And of course, we'll follow up and see how the relationships and allies unfold. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Have a good weekend.
You too.